Okay, so today uh, we are going again continue our REST API, and till now, yesterday we cover getting record from the database using the get endpoint uh, with the help of maybe by ID or by IDs, or maybe with a pagination, maybe sorting, right?
Right. Right.
That's
Sorting. Yeah. Yeah.
some time of this good, but sometime whenever we need a data from my REST API, not only by IDs are all, okay, but
Right.
sometime I can some specific filter. Oh, maybe I want the particular employee which name is this, right?
Right.
Maybe I want to employee which name and age is this, right?
Right.
Some kind of a filter, some kind of condition, right?
Right.
So how we uh, are going to use hey JPA, can you offer such facility where I can not only want to get data, find all, or get by ID? These two we have a familiar. But what happen? I want to get data by name, get data
Right.
by
It's
age.
specific. Like one. It's specific.
A specific one or a specific multiple, maybe one employee, multiple employee with the same name. Let's say I want to all the employee whose name is XYZ, right?
Ah, I understand. Okay. Okay.
So
Hmm.
some kind of you can say filtering, and in database sometimes say where conditions, right? Whenever you talk about the database by default support this concept. Select star, select all column from the table where name is this or age is this, name
Right.
and lots of
Right.
permutation combinations you can ask filter, right? Like a good example here in the Google search bar, you saying, hey, I want to Java tutorial, right? But Google have a lots of content, right? But they are not displaying all. What the filter criteria you pass, right? You pass Java search, yeah, P-SQL or something, right? So what the input you are passing, accordingly this Google search give you the data, right? Similarly,
Right.
in my
Right.
database employee table, maybe I have lots of property. So particular specific property I want get data, right?
Right. Right.
So let's explore how our Spring Data JPA support this. A very simple way. Good part, just you say, hey, Spring Data JPA, I need a custom query. I need a, okay, JPA, Spring Data JPA, okay, data JPA. I want to doing some custom query, right?
Right.
Query. Just you search here, and by default, go to this. This is Spring Doc. By default, go to the JPA. The JPA query means you are going to query means asking question to your JPA. Query means just
Right.
ask question. Query the terminology, maybe in the database you can say query means ki all the query, select query, insert query, update query, all the query. Query
Right.
means the syntax you are asking database, hey database, give me some data, right?
Right.
Similarly, if we are using Spring Data JPA, the JPA also support some kind of query, right?
Right.
It's good. So this is the complete Spring Data JPA, you can say, and even you are in the whole maybe on the first page here. You want to go to the learn, just go to the here project and Spring Boot, and just click Spring Boot, and by default this is the Spring Data. You can go to Spring Data, and Spring Data have this is the JPA. Go to the JPA. You want to learn, go to the learn section, and this is the referential document available. Click the reference document, and the same page you again got here, right? So here complete JPA detail available. Let's explore each and everything, right? All are the options. How to start JPA, what kind of example they, right here, this given good part, this documentation given each and everything. Like here, hello world example. This is the one person entity, and they have a two field, ID and name, and generate getter set, right? And after that, your repository you want to person, a save person, or here like a find by id. So till now we know how to save, how to find by id.
Right.
Might be some custom things I want. Now this is the basic things we have covered. So here go to the more detail. I'm not going to explore all the possible things, but
Right.
lots of things already here. JPA documentation, whatever we're going to discuss already placed here, right? Just we
Right.
have to
Right.
follow this. So how we are going to defining query. So by default, JPA support, you can write query in the two way. One is the Java query, one is the your database query. Okay, database query known as a native SQL, and by default Java query is the simple query, right?
Hmm.
So let's figure out all the options, and they have supported. Just need some time. You have to read like here say find by address zip code, right? You want to go to, maybe you have to find by address zip code, or you can say multiple method you can write here. Find by
Right.
first name, or find by last name, or find by email, find by age, any fields you can use, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
lots of
So
well
this is how you
documentation
find.
available in the Spring Data JPA. We are not going to complete all in everything, but surely basic idea how we can use them and some example, right?
Right. No problem. And I can read and I can develop
Uh,
on this.
till now it's good. What we are going to cover? We are going
Yeah.
to cover how we can write SQL query from the Spring Data JPA or SQL query. Not on the command prompt, not on the SQL side, not on the database, but on the Java application side, right? Good.
So we don't use the we use SQL script, or it's a Java language
Java
to.
language.
Oh, okay. Okay. I see. Yeah.
Java language to write query, right?
Yeah. 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 Okay.
So lots of good documentation here available. Just I'm thinking, please, you have to time. Then we have to, if you want to make more understanding about this query part, you have to just read the syntax and semantic, like find by last name, find by first name, right? You
Right.
want to pagination, you want to only one record, all kind of query you have to write here, right?
Oh, so
So
this has all the combination that I
all
need.
the combination depend upon your needs, right? What kind
Right.
of
Right.
query you are going to look data, right? The query
Right.
for looking your static. So by default, JPA support the both query. One, declare query means ki just using the just write this method. By default, JPA itself create the query for you, right? You don't
Right.
the by default say ki hey declarative query must you just tell JPA, hey JPA, I want find by email address and last name. Just tell them, and JPA going to create query for you, right? This is the one way, declarative way. Just query automatically create by your Spring Data JPA. But
Oh, okay.
if
Okay.
yeah, question is that ki how Spring Data work? Because if we follow some certain rule, then it's works. If you not follow rule, it's not work because they have designs for some specific rules. If you follow those guidelines, it's work properly, right?
Right.
So we have to learn what the guidelines would be, right? So here, all these guidelines mentioned in this JP data query. This is the one way. So whenever you are writing some method, you have to syntax like a find by and your field name. And means you want to you here say कि find by last name and first name. So here you want to end operator.
Oh,
You want to be
right.
now last name or first name, right? So
Right.
this
Right. Okay. Okay.
syntax you have to follow, and internally they are generating SQL query like this way. So lots of feature they have like end operator, find by last name and first name, or find by last name or first name, or between, maybe less than, maybe you want to find age less than 10 or less than greater than something, right? The less than equal to, greater than equal to. So these symbol you have to follow these rules, and
Oh, okay. Okay. I
your
see.
CA can work for you. So let's
Hmm.
do some couple of examples so you should aware ki where I'm writing this code, right?
Right, right. Okay, so that's where it makes sense. Like how the way you write it, it
Mhm.
convert to
SQL file itself.
SQL
Okay.
query. Okay, okay.
So then
Mm.
let's say here say find all. So internally they generate query, database query. Hey, select star from table name, right?
Right,
Okay. So it's good. This is the objective of the today, how we are going to use the query part. Why query? Because by default, we have till now fetching data from database using the two way. One, find all means give me the all the column, right? And sometimes by ID. I pass ID, you give me the ID basis. Which ID match
right,
you return, right? But
right,
sometime I'm not till now pass ki, hey, I want to all the employee which name is this. Yeah, which age is
right,
this?
right.
Yeah, which
Okay,
age
okay.
greater than this, right?
Mm. Conditions.
It's good for the day. It's clear what we are going to understand, right?
Right, right. Hmm.
So here, by default, you can say one more theory part here. By default, JPA is annotation-based configuration means कि sometime by default two way. One way just follow the certain rules. By default, your Spring Data JPA create query for you. Sometime you want to write custom your query. Maybe I want say some custom query. I'm not follow some certain rule. So you have to say annotation based configuration means here say maybe named query and here write your query, right?
Right,
Simple query
right,
you write here and it works. Similarly, so you can say JPA support query, SQL query as well as the uh, this is the XML based. Don't worry, but here I'm trying to say you have an option. You can write query using this annotation at that query. This annotation we have to going to use to write your query as well as right. Like here, give me a query. Select you from user where user email ID equal to whatever email I am passing. Right. So this query
okay.
annotation help us to write the particular query as well as.
Right,
If
right, right.
this is the method I written, but I want to also specify the query, you can write the query. So this
Mm.
query annotation help us to write the query. Even this query support Java query as well as SQL query. So
Okay,
how our Spring Data JPA know कि you are writing the query as SQL query. So whenever you write SQL query, you have to add this parameter native query equal to true. That means this query is for the Oracle query or MySQL query. This is not the Java query.
right,
By default, it is a false. That means this query here written you. This is the query of your Java query because you say select you from user. This is a class name, and here say your field name, Java model name.
right,
But sometimes no, I am going to actually write the column name. Here say column name. This is the database query. So how our Spring Data know this is the database query or your Java language query? If you are using Java language query, by default write this way. No, 'cause you say
Oh,
no, no. I
so this
actually
is
want database
this is
query. I
not
want to write the
SQL.
table name, here the column name itself, right?
This
So
is
for
not
those, you have
SQL.
to mention this parameter native query true. That means now
Uh, this is
our
not
Spring Data
SQL.
GP understand here developer want to write his database query itself. So all
This is not
kind of
SQL.
documentation here available for the both query. So I'm not going to detail all the documentation, but objective is that we have to know this Spring Data JPA support. You can fetch data as per your filter, as per your where class, as per your conditions. Good.
Right. Yeah, I have a question.
Till now, any doubt, any confusion?
Yeah, 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 I have a question.
You are on a
Uh,
mute.
uh, no,
Hello.
no.
I'm not able to listen to you. No, I can. You can hear me? No. Hello. I'm not able to hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Okay,
I
good.
can hear.
But I can not hear you. Maybe some voice problem. But what happened? Can you
I'm checking.
maybe check your voice somehow? But you are not mute somehow, right?
Hello, hello.
So maybe I will join again. That
Hello, hello,
hello.
hello.
Yeah, now your voice is calm.
Okay.
That's good.
So I had a question. So
Yes.
it when you type query and
Hmm,
you start with select,
hmm.
Java also starts with select.
Yes. Let's look some example. Then if we'll understand, right?
Okay, okay,
Okay. So yes, you are trying to write whenever I am writing query. Like here, select this something. So this query is by default written in the Java language. It is this is the user your Java model. This is your Java attribute field, right? So here look like this is
right.
the Java code written, but look like SQL query. But by
Yeah,
default, this query annotation understand कि whatever you're writing, this is the Java class name, this is Java your field name, your variable name. But you say no, don't consider this is the model name, this is the table name. So you have to mention your native query true that this parameter second. So whenever I write this parameter, then it say, hey, this is the actual original. Notice original user underscore alias. This is the column name of database. Like this is the database SD underscore user. This is your table name from the database, and this is the your Java model, right? So let's look some code. Then you can feel more comfortable, right? It's good.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, so let's start. Till now, it's clear ki what today we are going to
yeah, yeah. We're
discuss.
going to do a specific query based on what we need.
Yes,
So
you
we're
are
gonna
saying
query
going to fetching data from our
fetching
database
data.
with a specific column name, a specific attribute name, right?
Right, right,
And that is known as a JPA query. Okay, because why JPA query? Because we are using the Java Persistent API to get data from database.
right,
Okay, you're not saying SQL query because we are not writing the SQL query, but JPA support both Java query, a JPA query as well as your SQL query, right?
right, right. Okay,
So let's start with one basic application, right?
sure.
Simply let's build one Maven project, build package name, JPA query. Okay, JPA query and Java 21 and dependency. Let's test from the REST API. Okay, Spring Web, and you can test JPA. You can select your Lombok. You can select your S2 database, and you can select your done, right?
You're
The-
using H2.
and database and your Lombok, right?
You are using H2.
Download this application
You are using H2.
and just check all. Here too.
Uh, Hello.
Trust him. And let's download the Swagger doc, right? Spring Swagger doc
Yeah.
for Swagger testing. Just add one document dependency in the POM file. Still application loading. Yes. Here,
Hello.
let's just load it. And here we can add one more dependency. Lombok Spring Beta. Just add one more dependency. Our REST API documentation Swagger, right? And that's done. Uh, let's add this Swagger basic what uh, whatever started we did like this is the H2 database configuration, right? So that we can launch the console and check the query, right? Data. This is our application property. So that key, our data can be loaded. This is done. This is done. This is done. And let's it's okay.
Hello.
Just create one
Hello.
class employee employee. Okay. E- Employee, and here fill your private long, long your ID and private string name. A name you can also say first name, last name, right? For
Right.
first name, okay. First name, let's last name, okay. Or you just say name. Simplicity, you can do anything, right? Uh,
Right.
First name, and let's private integer age. Let's private uh, string city. Let's private int. Let's salary. Okay, whatever you basic you can do.
Hello.
So here by default, if I say here like entity at the rate entity, this means the database table same like employee, but maybe I want to database name change something different. So here you can say, hey, table name would be, you can give your table name, whatever table name you want. You want to table name might be EMP or table name, right? So here you can change Java model name. This is the employee, but database table कुछ can be maybe EMP or database table, right? And just say this is the ID and this is the your generated column and done. This is the, and here you can say required setter getter, you can say simply data, or you can say all argument constructor, you say no argument constructor, and builder to build your object. Okay, so this is the your model ready, and just load some initial data. So how to load initial data? Let's create the employee repository, uh, interface, employee repository, extend JPA repository. Here say employee comma your uh, identifier ID, and this is done. And here say, hey, let's load initial setup employees in the database, right? So here say same as a configuration, say class load data, and here say I'm going to just load as a initialize one bean, and here say command line runner load init database, initial database. And here database you want to save something, let's inject the repository, employee repository. Here say a repository, and just you want to return your command line interface. So here I am going to implement as a just create one list of employee list equal to new array list. Here say hey repository dot repo dot save all, and whatever my employee list just save, right? And let's here create some list of employee you can add here, employee dot add, and here you add one employee. So
Hmm.
how to create employee object? We are created the builder using going to the builder object to build employee object, employee dot build dot builder. Here say I want to here say set name. I want to name like uh, anything, and dot like okay, this and dot again age 35 dot city Delhi, okay, and dot maybe salary 45,000, okay. In this way you are building a, oh, this is the integer number, so you can, okay, this way you can build. Similarly, let's add a couple of employee, okay. So these are the fields we have to consider: name, age, city, and salary. Here say Sam, here say Tim, here say Hong, here say John, here say Ben, here say Adam, here say Paul. Some couple of them. Let's change the age 50, just 34, just 67, just 23, just 46, just 83, just 47. Okay, and city maybe Dhaka, maybe Toronto, maybe Kanpur, maybe Mumbai, maybe
Hello, hello.
Can I maybe Bangalore?
Can you hear me?
Maybe Gaya. Any name you can put, right? So let's change some year number 36, 456, 23, 76, 60, 28, 35, 39. Okay. So let's uh okay. Now it's done, and just let's say start database, and these data are loaded in the database. Let's one controller get all endpoints, REST controller class employee controller.
Hello, hello.
Yes. Yeah. Controller.
Okay. Uh,
Ye-
Hello, Ajay bhai. I
Yeah.
I logged in from phone, but my for some reason microphone is not working. So I
Okay.
will be just watching you on the on the computer. Okay.
I Your voice is not coming.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now it's coming. Your voice is coming. Ask a question. Are you saying something? Are you saying something? Hello. I am. Excuse me. I'm not able to hear you. Okay. Okay. Not an issue. Let's continue. Okay. I am continue. Mhm. So let's control one method public void uh, get all, and just say we need a employee repository, a repo. Yes, it should be private. Final initialize with the constructor, and here say return find all
Right.
return, and this should be a return all employee, and this should be get mapping
Correct.
SEMPs.
I never said that.
Okay,
Okay.
just till now only one get endpoint that return the all
Okay. All right.
endpoints. And
बहुत
whenever
बात
server is start up, I am just loading some setup.
আমি
Just
সব
run.
জেন্টস ডাকতেছি দাঁড়াও আমি নেড়ে দিব একটু পরে বুঝছি শুনছি আমি
Employee here should be name. Whenever you say table annotation, you have to use a name, and whatever the table name. Your Java model name is the employee. Your database table name is the EMP, right? So here you can say you can change any name here you want. It's not the always be whatever the Java model name, same with your table model name. No, we have so let's take our local host swagger, and we are just getting one endpoint, get employees, and we are getting by default we are getting the all employee, right? Question is that now we are going to build some couple of endpoints. I want to get employee by ID, get employee by name, get employee by salary, get employee by age, different. But mm, so let's note this repository. No, these methods are not. Let's say I'm going to say, hey, I want to get employee uh, by ID, and here say, hey, employees by ID. So here say, hey, I need the request parameter, request from long ID. And here say find by ID. So this method already exposed by our framework. So you can use by ID. So this return mm, not list. This return your hop. Okay. So here say instead of get by IDs. So these are the methods already provided by your our repository. The ID by default, this is guidelines. Whenever you are writing any repository, you mention your ID the long. So by default, they supported endpoint. Notice this file by ID always expecting you pass one ID. So they know you are passing file by ID. It works. There is no problem. But this repository, how know कि this table have a name field or age field or city field or salary field? These are the Spring Data JPA don't know about the field name. Then how they give this method कि find by age, find by city, find by salary. So by default these methods don't you have, right? So here that's good. Now you are getting the new endpoint find by ID. Find by ID. Here you pass any ID. Let's say I pass ID 4. I am getting the data by ID. Till now there is no confusion. I am getting the data 4. But I want to by name. So question is that how I want to get by name. So let's say I am going to say, hey, another endpoint. I want to get by name. I want to get by name. Here I want to pass your name. String name. Question here, which method I am going to use? Get by name. What method I am going to use? Right? So here for that, Spring say, don't worry, you can write your own method. So this is my repository. Here you can say, hey, here you can say, I need a uh, find by not a find by ID. This is not a method. I want a method name find by name. And here I pass your string variable name. Okay. And what you want to return? Maybe our name field is not unique. That means they can return the list. Maybe same uh, uh, two name of the same person, right? So can we here say this return the your list of your list of your employees. So now whenever in this interface you return just method find by name. So this method now you can say, hey, now I can say dot find by name and I pass name and they return the a list because this method returning list. So here question, this is the method I written interface is the abstract method who provide the implementation. What is the business logic of this interface? Notice interface you write only abstract method. I written one method that is abstract. Think who are going to give the so Spring Data GPSA if you are your by name so this name field if I look this repository this is the employee class in if we have this name field I am going to write the query for you. If this is the name so here n capital you just write here n capital and ma name. So by default they can understand hey by name methods I'm able to read you. I am able to implement you. I am able to give you. So let's here by name. I am just say Paul is the two times. Okay, Paul is the same person but different age, right? 70. So I am passing the Paul name. So I am getting the two Paul names, right? Okay, and just restart. So here, this is the beauty of your Spring Data JPA. Spring Data JPA say, hey, just you give me the hint. I'm give the definition for you. Find by name. But naming convention is a very clear. Here you say find by. This is the syntax, and here the name. What which name? They I'm going to looking name this employee class. In employee class, we have a name field. I am okay. So let's test this endpoints works or not. And let's employee by name. Just click here and say I pass the name like Hong. I added a one name Hong and I am getting data from Hong. And notice by default this query is written by our JPA for me. What say? Select all the employee column from employee where employee name equal to what name I pass. So here beauty, why the maybe I pass the person we have two name like here Paul. We return the list of two employee, right? So let's check here. I say I want to Paul, and notice they return the two employee we have the same name. So
Right.
this method find by name why work because this name word what happen you say here I am say my name is name and hi here just you write the like a small name this way then what happen let's say I am writing this way method and then check is understand by the JPA or not, right? I just you
Right.
notice the small name and you go and write the find by small name here and just restart and let's check what JPA say, right? So here naming convention in the JPA query is the very important. If that is not mismatch something, he may be here say ki name. Here is no name field. Let's keep missing something e field or something column, right? That time your JPA is not responding data. So please be carefully. Let's test here. Now they are understand the name understand right they are name and they are match name right here name match right name match what happened I'm writing such field like which is not here name here name just say this is the name I'm say just missing the e parameter name okay here I'm missing something right I say hey by just name and notice in this employee there is no field name age city salary no name then what happened right so intention is that be carefully give the naming convention here what we are giving. If exact match name, it will works. If not match, then maybe he's not work. Let's check. Notice here your server startup failed. Why? Because server say you are retain a method, retain a method get by name, but this is a NAM. There is no field in this object. Here, no field like NAM, right? The due to that, your server is startup say I am not able to find employee. This is the field mentioned somewhere. Video detail employee repo JPA query. Give the could not create the query up for abstract method. Notice the abstract method. This is the abstract method find by NAM. Region. Region failed to create query because the abstract method. This is the abstract method, our this by name. No name property found in this employee. Notice that means whatever the here you giving the name, here name, that name must exist in this table. Notice, do you mean name? They are suggesting it should be name, not like a name. Here, if the same name exists, then it's work. Might be you say ki, by department here, say department, okay? Department say, okay, something by department. There is a no department here. They still your server startup fail and say I'm not found any such a method like a department because no such method. So by default, this is the abstract method. The abstract method definition given by JPA. How it's possible? Only what your class name here given. So by default, find by is a pre syntax, and after that they are looking. This is the one field name. Attribute name must be under this employee. If you restart again, it going to the fail because say hey employee class there is a no such variable like department because in this there is a no such variable like a department.
Right.
So whenever we are going to say now our server startup fail again with the same message like no property department found for the type employee. So it's clear whenever you are going to write any new abstract method inside your interface, please ensure that you can only give those name which are exist here. Here's a name, you can give here name, it works fine. Okay. Naming conversion would be fine the capital letter, it's okay. Capital A small, no problem, but it works. Right? So here in your repository, you can add any number of abstract method that follows some principle like find by and your attribute name. Like here, what about attribute name mentioned here? So here you can say find by name, or you can say find by age. Multiple interface you can say. Here I want to find by age. Okay, and say hey find by age, and here say maybe find by city, you say find by city. Here you can say find by salary. Okay, here say integer salary. Here say city string city. Here say integer age.
Integer
Okay,
age.
in your interface, in this repository interface, you can define your own abstract method, and this abstract method implementation given by your Spring Data JPA with the help of this employee model. Employee class must have like this age field, city field, salary. And now you can expose lots of endpoint
Right,
like
right.
you want to maybe by age. So here say, hey, I want to call by age. Okay, find by age. Okay, or you can similarly say, I want city. So here say, find by city, find by city, and here should be like this is should be integer, right? Integer age, and here say I need a age. Okay, similarly here city is okay. Now by you can say I by salary, you can say hey by salary, find by salary. Here say salary the integer and the salary. Okay, find by. So in this way, notice in our repository you can add additional method. Just you are giving the method here, just abstract method, you're not giving definition how to write the complete business logic. Just tell JPA is implement all these abstract method, and you can call here by default all your method, right? And it works. Let's restart and test. So this is the one way ki in your repository interface you can add some more methods for your convenient according to the your attribute. What attribute you have it defined it? What the field you have in the model,
Yeah.
right? So good.
Can you hear me?
Here say hey and simply say refresh them, and lots of endpoint you have built depend upon the custom usage. So notice here we have different by city, by name. Let's say I want to city, just check in the Delhi. Okay, Delhi. I am getting the employee who is in the Delhi, right? Similarly, you want to by age, maybe check a age like maybe age 34. Who is a 34, right?
Right.
Yes, hey, I want to age try out and say 34. I am getting the employee whose age is the 34. So here exact query are implemented by your, notice here age, here city. This query is by default implemented for your abstract method by the Spring Data, JPA, and Hibernate, right?
Right.
And even you can check other endpoints like here by Sedri. Maybe Sedri look like 86, 24, 26, anything, 26,000. Just try out and just pass here. You are getting employee which salary is the 26,000. Okay, like when. So in this case, you are trying to say in your repository you can build lots of more method than you expected, and here depend upon your what your model name. Please be notice here model name employee. So only those methods you can add here. That's are. The- But sometimes say always model name required, or I can use some different name. You can use, there is no problem, you can use. But by default you are, that means you have to provide the definition. So let us example here I want by salary, but here salary should be greater than something and less than something, right? You want something. So here you say, hey, this is the base salary, but this salary notice always return exact whatever I am passing here. I am passing 26, 26 is return. I want all the salary greater than 26 something. So here our condition, notice this query is executed by system like exact, like query whatever I am pass equal to. You pass 26,000, if match they return. I can write, say, hey, I want something my own query. I want to some should be greater than something. Salary greater than something. So here to have a two option. You can use the Spring documentation. Or let's say if you want to greater than less than, they have already query. You want to like a less than or greater than. You can use this symbol. Say, I want like a less than or greater than something. I want to greater than. Just say greater than method here. And you can say find by salary. Here say like here say find by your salary and then paste this method. Just change this method here. This. So now this query find by salary greater than. This method just change here and change here. Now this query are going to change find by salary. Notice here not equal to, here currently equal to, and let's restart. And now this point change. Now this query is written for you with the greater than or less than whatever function you want. So this documentation lots of syntax semantic given you. You can use any one of them whatever you want, right? So let us started, yes, and let's I test same uh, by salary. Notice I am getting lots of employee with salary greater than something, right? Because notice the query, they return query greater than. So here you say maybe similarly, I want to get all the age. So these here by age, and after that you can apply these condition less than equal to, greater than equal to, after, before, null, is null, all the things you have to apply here. even good options. These are the by default lots of documentation in Spring given. कि almost basic requirement, you can just use the simple write one method name and let them all the query are written by your Spring Data JPA. You have to just follow the some naming convention. Here it must be like greater than, less than, something same convention here, and your query work accordingly. Let's give on to employee which name and age end class. Like here they mention you have to apply end R, right? So here you can say, hey, I am going to find employee, find all employee by name and 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 age. Which employee, which name and age are both are the same. Which I want. So this is the name, and second, I want integer age. So this pattern say here you can use the end. Your first by find last name and first name. Here our query now generated by first name and last name. So let's check here another method endpoint like by this, and here say I need a second parameter by name and integer age, age, and here say hey second parameter age. So you are returning this, change the URL here, and this should be a request parameter like whatever. So you are saying ki, hey, I am going to build query name and age, which employee return only those name and age are match,
Right.
right? So here let's restart and just check this. The by default this abstract method implemented by the JPA data for your convenience. So let's start it. Here Swagger, and just I am going to say refresh here. I need a new endpoints. So here say name and age. So here you have to pass the name and age. So let's I pass. Let's check the data. I have lots of. So notice these two employees have a same name, but the age different, right? I say Paul,
Right.
name is the Paul. I say name is a Paul, and age should be I want to this 70, right? So I say age should be 70. So they return those employees which both are match. So notice they run here and they return this the details. And look the query what they generated query. So notice they generated query like a employee name and this age. So this query by default generated for your help of this, help of this syntax. Maybe you want to not an R, you want to like R, name R age, any match. So maybe you are say, hey, I want name R age, any match. So here say name R. By default, they string GPA, you can use the R as well as. So R means they use condition this match or this match. Any match, they return the data. So let's check this one. Just say hey, and I am going to use this. Say I am going to this and this. So in this case, our API return which name match or uh, age match, right? Just restart. So try to explain here this Spring documentation given lots of useful, almost you can say basic common requirement that you can fulfill, and are is equal or between or less than greater than less than or equal to. After generally whenever you are going to apply any filter or any condition, these are required and you can follow the just this basic syntax and it work for you. So let's test it. Let's start it and test here. So now we have a endpoint R. Here if I pass like a name, just same I like a Paul. I test it because Paul I have a two name, right? Paul. So here say Paul and age 70. So they return uh, which are exact match, Paul and 70. But similarly, I can say no, R condition. See, I am same here. Say, hey, Paul, R is 70. If they match, R they match. Any match you can return. So no, notice here I am getting the two records because first this record Paul match, this record Paul match, and second record is 70 match. Notice this here. So in this case, you notice and look the database query. Notice what the query generated. They generated here, they generated query R. So whatever they are written query, similarly, this documentation always say कि this query I am going to generate. For this, notice they say कि R this query are going to generate. Notice this is the same
Hello,
thing. Notice here this query generated, right? R and query generated.
hello,
So here, if we follow this documentation, you can easily write any number of capability in your repository. Currently, our repository have only capability by ID and save all and find all, right? But now this you can added your employee repository lots of capability. Now our employee repository can call many methods, right? Even you can write lots of things you can say. Here we are not going to cover all these parameter you can test, all these things you can test. Maybe true, false, not in condition age in. Notice I want all the employee which age in. Between means here you pass the collections of value. I want all the employee which age between, right? So here say age in the database query and here pass the list of value in collections. So let's I want to uh, age between. So here you can test this. This you can test maybe not in maybe order by you can have a test or maybe containing something particular contain or not. The lots of option here we have. Maybe you want to name start with or end with. Yeah, containing. So here all those methods you can write here and accordingly you can use the endpoint and test them. It's very simple if you follow these Spring Doc guidelines. So we're not going to cover all the things, but you let's explore them. Any confusion, any one of them, maybe testing and are equals between less than equal to greater than equal to after before is null not null like operator not like operator like means just mention ki I want to name like this is the like just match maybe first name second name third name anything you can say here property you can change anything first name like a second name like something like this is like database query they generate. So here something maybe here good option case ignore case. So let us I want to here one thing one let's try sometime I want here like a say by name here let's keep by name and I say hey I want to Paul. If I pass capital letter it's return data, right? And what happen if pass I small letter?
hello.
Notice I'm not getting any data. So why not our system support case sensitive? Maybe small letter or capital letter both come. The good option you have to use this documentation. I say why not use the case ignore case? Just add this line find by name and ignore case. They are going to ignore
Hello.
you. So let's look. This is my find by method. I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to not use this. I'm going to use this. Which one? Annotation. Ignore case. Just append this here. Ignore case. Now these endpoints are going to return your ignore name case. So now notice here I am going to say find by name. Here find here I'm not going to say I'm going calling my ignore case method. Say find by name. Okay, find by. So here say I'm saying ki though find by name, they return exact name, ignore case, they are going to ignoring your case. Let's restart. So simply you are just giving little bit trick and your application behave different. And here good part you are not writing any even SQL query or JPA query. Just writing your abstract method. Just writing abstract method. Following the just syntax of the sub rules of this whatever they given. Just let's test and Swagger refresh them and test. Okay. And here say I say uh, by ignore case name. Just here say I simply say hey Anis small letter and
Right.
they return capital letter as well, right? Same if you are pass Anis with this endpoint like simple by name and they not return anything because they are not case sensitive, right? This query just return hey I'm not found any data because internally the query is executed by like exact equal to this. And whenever you run this query again the same name with ignore case, if you run here notice they return the record even the capital letter because here database support just internally convert your name to two uppercase and two uppercase and match any match or not. Internally they return the logic how to making case ignore case. So lots of use case you have to build using just simple uh, this rule, this guidelines.
Very good.
That is the one part where you are going to build just telling hey spring data jpa this is known as a declarative query. You are not writing any query, just say hey query creation means just write the abstract method. This just method like find by email address. This query is automatic generated by your spring. So notice the jpa criteria. Jpa is created sql query for like this. So whatever we cover here, all just we are added additional feature, additional capability my employee repository. Now employee repository have now lots of methods they can call.
Right. Right.
Just we are not writing any SQL query, or not running any business logic, just writing the abstract method. And while writing method, we follow the basic guidelines of this query creation of the JPA. Query creation JPA works. Okay, so this is the one way. But sometimes we say ki you have to write query as well as if you want, you can write query. Both query, JPA query and SQL query, both query you can write, right? So lots
Hello.
of things they have support. Like here say, let's say
Hello.
using this query annotation. This query annotation help us to write query. Means ki whatever the query this generated by the SQL, sometime and the general purpose is query work, but some business case requirement I want write some took query, some customized query, some specific query. Those query might be different use case, different purpose. JPA not supported all kind of query, but possibly which are the commonly used they are supported. These are the basically commonly used requirement, right? Find by name or ignore case. age, city, a specific field, right? These are very commonly used. But sometimes you say, hey, no, I want to write some specific query. Is JPA support? Yes. Simply say, hey, I have a simple written method, like list of employee I want. Simply say one method all. Simple. Let's example one method all. Just I want this. So think this method. What the definition? What JPA do for this? What kind of all query they generate? Because there is. Let's restart and notice what the all. What the hell? This is abstract method. Who will going to give the definition? Because if you follow the some certain guidelines, it's okay, it's work. But here you say, hey, note, notice very unhappy with server. What say? You are very unhappy because you whatever saying property all not found in the employee. Okay, here trying to say guessing. You are referring to age, but so here I'm not referring age. All means all. I want to all record. So question that if this is the abstract method, by default JPA going to provide the definition for your means ki actual implementation of this method. If they can, because they know this is the JPA know this is the model, and in this model define some attribute. For this all I can generate the code. But you are not passing anything how I can generate method. You do. So here say all Java models, all employee models. Here you can say all anything. Here, so how you can give definition? Generally in core Java, whenever any abstract method, you are going to provide the implementation using the implementation class. Here we can do, but here we have another options. You can write your query using this query annotation. Here say, hey, I am going to write just query annotation, query annotation. Okay, you are not giving the default implementation. Just use the here my query select. Okay, select maybe star from here. You can select a star from employee object. Just say hey employee. Okay, so here you are saying key I am going to giving the query. Here by default you are generating query. Okay, but this is the very custom requirement. I say hey this is the I needed. So whatever the method you are writing, this method if not understand by JPA, then you have to write your own query. And let's restart. So at least now you are aware that this compiler is not. Oh, okay. Again say what say? Again JPA is not happy. What they are saying? Okay. Select here say maybe just here we have to follow the basic syntax. Here we are not writing the 1 minute. Let's say select star. I am just using this which query SQL and table name database table. Let's write this way. Select star from this is the SQL query. Here say comma native SQL true means here say ki this the query I am writing. This is the simple. Let's understand a database query. So because the database table name my employee. Okay, and let's restart again. Let's test. And for Java model, I just wait 1 minute. First, let's check it's working or not. So now for this, it's happy. There is no problem because you say, I am writing. This is the my SQL query language. These are native means this database specific query. It's work for it. And you want I want not a native query. So maybe Java query. This is no all SQL query. SQL query. SQL. Just all. And similarly, you can Similarly, if you say, hey, I want not a native query, I want to Java model query. I don't want this. I don't want this. I want like this. So here say this is the Java model. Here say all SQL model. SQL model query. Model. SQL query. SQL query. This is the Java query. So whenever you say Java query, this star is not anything in Java. So if you look the documentation, if you want to write any query, you say select u from user and give some alias name. So here you can say select here say this is the my Java model employee, select employee and give some employee name e variable alias. Here say select u. So in this way you can write your which query. This is the Java query. This is your SQL query, maybe MySQL, PSQL, whatever the query. And let's restart and test. Though now our JPA understand these two methods are not, and even these two method you can use them. Let's test is started or not started. So now server is started. So notice now our this all SQL query and all Java query. These methods are identified by now Spring Data JPA. Now, that means Spring Data JPA is able to implement the implementation method for this. And let's you can even test them. So let's even you can test them both. Both works here. Say like by all SQL, and you don't pass anything, right?
Right.
If you need some right here, and similarly one more method. This is the our method like Java query. So here trying to say you can write both query, maybe your native SQL query or simple Java query. Here table name, not a table name, your Java model name. Here your actual database table name. Let's start. I'm showing this is our actual table name because here I changed the name. Table name is the EMP. In the database, table name created the EMP, not the employee. Employee your Java model. And let's test. Notice here employee the table name data. Notice here table name created. Table name created what? EMP. Why? Because I'm setting here my table name is the EMP. Right? And let's test API. So here you have a lots of you can say flexibility. So notice here this is the all query written by me. They return the all the record because I return the query all the return, right? And similarly, if you want like all Java using the Java query, you can run and they return all the record, right? And even you can say localhost your H2 console, and even notice here and check the table name is the EMP, right? Select star from EMP. This is the table name you created, right?
Right.
So here you can write any custom query whatever you want. Maybe you want age and salary or something, any combination, whatever SQL query you want here, and maybe some where clause you want, right? Something like where clause, where condition. Select star for like uh, employee where maybe ID uh, greater than $1 and less than IT less than, you can say anything maybe instead of greater than and less than 2. So here what is the meaning of here here colon 1 colon 2. That means this method take a two input parameter, first id and second id. So here you have to need a two input uh, variable, like one uh, first id, and second you say second id, second id. So here, writing the SQL query here, where clause, you can write anything. You want to some dynamic value that's passed by user, you have to write question mark 1 question mark 2, means this is the first your this and second one this, right? This is the way you can pass any number of check. Let's it work or not. Let's I pass this which query I'm passing. I am checking the native query, right? So native query. So let's test. So in this way, all the even actual native query you can run from just here. Native query with a where clause, where clause, where clause, and they need a two value, one and two. Two value need, right? So here you can say pass like a integer, integer one and two, one and two. So here's the first ID, second ID, right? First ID, and here's a second ID, second ID, and here say this would be a request parameter I want, right? So now you can pass here first ID, and here pass the second ID. So in this way, you can write your query, which are custom query and where class condition, like whatever you want to hear, and let's test it. I want to all the record which are maybe three and between the five. Here, your condition, whatever query you want to write, whatever the SQL query you want to write, you can write here, and that's a test. So notice I written one all SQL query where class, and where class they took by. I want to first two to five, means greater than two and less than five, right? And run, they return the ID greater than two, three, and less than four. So only this record you can get, right? So in this way, notice here the query is the same which you written query, right? Whatever I am written query, same query they are using. Notice the same query they are using here, right? Hibernate. So just here, what's it? Our Spring Data GPC, just tell me your query, I can execute on the behalf of you. And what the input you want, just give me the input here, whatever the input here, and just one, two, three as a parameter, right? So this is by default, this is the first parameter, and by default, this is the second parameter. In this way, you can write your actual SQL query, and native query must be true. Here you write your Java query. Similarly, you can write where something like here. Similarly, like you can write both, like here Java query, like select u from user u. U means this is your user Java model, and where your field name. Here even you can write the some condition, like here. Even here you can write the some condition where class. Here also you can write some where clause. The e where maybe e dot, e means employee. Employee dot means this field you can use. Maybe ID, name, age. You can say age. Maybe you can say age. Age maybe greater than question mark. One value take. So you are returning all the age which greater than this. So here sir, take one parameter like age, right? So here you are writing the Java query, and Java query also pass the some condition. Okay. Similarly, here you can write. Just test this Java query and just one field age. Okay. And here say just pass age. Age. Okay. So here you are no, no. What which I written? all Java query where clause, all Java query where clause. ठीक है? This is the SQL query, SQL query. Let's restart. So now you can say uh, JPA provide the very flexible way you can write your own query or Java query, or don't write any query, just write your simple abstract method. This definition, this query is responsibility to provided by your, oh, something, there is already employee, not map or something. I'm what say, all query is already defined in controller bin method. Okay, I am putting something double. 1 minute. This is the okay. The same annotation we put two times here, right? I have to put this same. You cannot define same URL two time, right?
Right.
So here say exception that you already this URL exists, get endpoint, right? Already exists. You cannot define two URL for the same. So look, like it at this time it should works. Yes, it started, and let's test and refresh them and refresh them. See, I want to MP select star age. This is the age. I want to all age greater than, that's 50. They're greater than 50, all the 50. So here say, hey, this is the my custom Java query where condition. I am say, hey, I want to run age here the 50 and give me the all. So we are getting all record which age is the 50, right? 76, 83, and 70. Why? Because this query is notice generated by your our application, which is due to, because here notice I am writing here which Java model query. The same query cannot, this query cannot run on the SQL side. So for this, our Spring Data JPA generate Hibernate query. This is the SQL query. Finally, this query going to run on the database. So for running database, always need a database query. If you are writing a Java query, internally your query is converted by your SQL query from this which framework. But you directly write the native query SQL query, then this query is not going to any conversion. Same query run by your application, like in the case of where class like here. Notice ID 2 6 and run. Notice we are getting the one record, and notice here this query same written by query myself. Notice I written this query, select star from employee where ID greater than, the same query, because this is already you written SQL query. So JPA, there is no need to again write your query because already you written SQL query. Native means the database specific query you are writing. Here not by default you are writing this Java query. The Java query need to convert it by the SQL query from this JPA framework. So they JPA request Hibernate can generate query. This query is generated from this line. But this query you written itself, the by default same query is just passed to the Hibernate and Hibernate run on your database. So these are, you can say, couple of uh, way where you are building REST API that can return data on the basis of your different condition, by ID, salary greater than, by name, name equal ignore case, or name or age, or city, or everything, or even you can write a complete SQL query, a complete Java query. So you can
Right.
say Spring Data JPA support by default preference way. Always you just write a method and let them Spring framework do write query for you. Because here maybe you are not familiar with the syntax semantic how to write the query. Just you follow the syntax guidelines of this simple Spring Data GP, right? This and
Right.
sometimes familiar. Yes, I know the database. I know the query. How I know okay, how to write the efficient query, basic query, customized query. Data JPA say, okay, you know, just you write your query here. I am just going to execute your query, whatever you written, whatever your query read input, you take your input, and I am just execute. So now here you are fetching data from the database on the basis of different your attribute, maybe name, age, city, combination of name and city, combination of name, age and city, end condition, or condition, contain, not contain, all the permutation combinations, whatever you want, you can get data. So depend upon your expertise. Preferable way Java say, if Java developer don't know SQL query, don't worry, just you write your simple abstract method. Spring Data JPA do everything for you. But you know, write Java query, you write the Java query. You don't know Java query, you write the SQL query, yeah, database query, you write database query. I support both. So Spring Data JPA support all kind of permutation combination for developer. For SQL developer, for Java SQL developer, or maybe simple write abstract method, whatever the method you have. And you can get all the, and many times in whenever we are building applications, uh, most cases, whatever the Spring provided is documentation, whatever the core concept they have, query definition method, right? This many places, your this JPA method. This work, many cases it works, but many places this is not fit. Might be you want some additional query, additional where clause, additional joining inside, joining with a multiple table, two table, three table inside another comment. Complex query you want to write. So for those cases, uh, Spring Data JPA say, don't worry, you write your whatever the complex query here, I am going to execute on the behalf of you. I'm not going to interfere anything. Whatever you write a complex query, just mention here. This is the native query. That means ki I am not going to taking care of what you written here. Just I pass this query to the database and database execute. Whatever the data returns, I'll give you the response. So I think it is uh, for the day, and you are just explore this Spring provided the JPA query. You can say this a very powerful. You
Yeah.
can say you can read documentation. You can almost get journal purpose of all the data from your database,
Right.
right? So this is
Yeah.
for day and just guidelines. Just do practice, follow this documentation, do practice, and then you feel comfortable. If you're comfortable with the Java model query, you can use Java model query. If you're comfortable with the SQL database query, you write a database query or simple abstract method. Three-way Spring Data JPA support fetching data from the database, and
Right.
depend upon the number of column you have, number of query you can write.
Right.
I think that's for the day, and
Yeah.
your voice is a problem, so
Yeah.
let's do practice. Any doubt, any confusion, I will connect.
Sure. No problem. Thank you.
Good for the day.